Between 2020 and 2024, Larimer County had 3 large-scale wildfires that qualified for federal assistance. In 2020, we had the Cameron Peak Fire and the East Troublesome Fire, and then in 2024, we had the Alexander Mountain Fire. The Cameron Peak Fire started on August the 13th at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That fire burned for another 4 months and wasn't contained until December of 2020. The Cameron Peak Fire ultimately burned 208,913 acres, and it became the largest wildfire in Colorado's history. In 3 days' time, between September 4th and September 7th, the Cameron Peak Fire grew 78,000 acres. During this time frame is when we had the first reported damages from the Cameron Peak Fire. The Cameron Peak Fire ultimately damaged 469 structures. 243 of those structures were completely destroyed. On October the 14th, the East Troublesome Fire crested over the Continental Divide, causing the evacuation of the town of Estes Park, the Estes Valley, and the Glen Haven area. The Alexander Mountain Fire started on July 29th of 2024 around 11 a.m. in the morning. This fire severely impacted the Storm Mountain, Cedar Park, and Cedar Cove areas of the county. Because of the work of our first responders, that fire was contained about 10 days later at 9,668 acres. The Alexander Mountain Fire ultimately destroyed 29 residential structures, another 21 outbuildings were destroyed, and 4 additional structures were damaged.
In Larimer County, our people deeply care about our open spaces and open lands. They've shown this time and again by supporting ballot measures to support those lands and protect those lands and waters. So we live in a community where people have that deep connection to the space that they live in. According to the USDA's wildfire risk website, in Larimer County, we are 94% more likely to experience a wildfire than any other community in the country.
The sheriff is in charge of evacuations. Our Archer team, All Hazards Crisis Response, they have all been trained as wildland firefighters. Their role is to go into the area, knock on every single door, and let people know that they're being evacuated and where to go to. The big thing, the sheriff has given everybody the authority, if they think evacuations are needed, call for the evacuations. We will go big, we will go early. We're not going to apologize for that because we have had some very close calls in the past. We would rather get people out of the way sooner, and then if we didn't need to, we can then get them back into their house much more quickly.
It's important to prepare for wildfires. For people living in the wildland-urban interface, home mitigation is your best chance of having your property survive the fire. The forest is going to burn. We can minimize its impact on people. We can be proactive and do prescribed burns in places to minimize the spread of fire, but the fire is going to burn. Between High Park and Cameron Peak, 70% of our district was burned.
We moved up here in 2021 after the Cameron Peak fire happened, and we have a group called the Storm Wildfire Action Group that takes very seriously doing the things that we can to mitigate and prevent the damage from fire as much as possible. If we don't take it seriously, it happens so suddenly and it's so unstoppable that there's a great amount of loss that there didn't need to be in the first place. We are in a situation in this spot here at the Cedar Park Storm Mountain area where we've had fires all the way around. We're actually considered by some to be the most evacuated population in the entire state of Colorado because of the number of things that have happened. I've been the chairman of the Cedar Park Storm Mountain Fire Recovery Group since early August of 2024. And my role in that has been to figure out what the needs are, but also figure out what the resources are. And I had no knowledge of it ahead of time, but there's an entire web of people who are involved in disaster relief.
The county has an important role. Our Office of Emergency Management, the Sheriff's Office Emergency Services, working with all of our partners to make sure that folks are safe and that we recover from these incredible natural disasters.
In my role at the NOCO Foundation as an engagement consultant, I also lead the Larimer County Long-Term Recovery Group. And the Long-Term Recovery Group is a group of agencies that get together once a month or so following a disaster to help the survivors thrive and rebuild and help the landscape repair and recover. During and after disaster, we have many different agencies coming together that have different expertise and missions in their work. So we might have an organization come to the table that can help with debris removal or removing hazardous logs from a landscape. And then we might have another organization there to help with case management so that survivors are getting their needs met and they are having wraparound services as they rebuild and become whole again.
Colorado Baptist Disaster Relief is a nonprofit organization made up of volunteers that are background checked, credentialed, and trained in all aspects of disaster relief. The areas we cover are tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and any other disasters that will occur. We all have a goal, which is the same, is to help those in need. We work directly with the emergency manager and the county officials to do what they want. So we work close to them, and I think as organizations, when we've worked together, we understand each person's responsibility, and we're able to get the work done easier, faster, and it builds a bond between all of us. Our organizations are here for the communities. There's simple things that look simple to us that mean so much to property owners. And we try to look at that when we go on to a job. Our goal as Colorado Baptist Disaster Relief is to bring the help, hope, and healing. We're not just there for a day or 2 days. We build a relationship with these people. So when we leave, they know how to get in touch with us. If they're struggling, we just want to be able to have somebody for them to talk to. And they will call, and we have built lifelong friendships with people here in Larimer County and other counties that we've worked in.
You know, I think there's a couple ways for people to get involved with this work. One is when the Office of Emergency Management or other disaster response agencies host trainings or activity tables. Please try to attend those so you get an awareness of what goes into a disaster recovery or response initiative. I think understanding what our resources are outside of disasters is really important as an individual resident. During a disaster, I think if people can and want to, they should seek out volunteer opportunities at agencies that work with people that are victims or survivors. So that could be Serve 6.8 or American Red Cross. And then likewise, if people are able to, if they can give generously, that really helps. So not only during a disaster, maybe to a local firefighting district that might need supplies and time-sensitive equipment, but the NOCO Foundation actually houses the Northern Colorado Disaster Recovery Fund, and those critical dollars help with the rebuilding after the fire ends.
I've learned from our emergency management director that the task of recovery is ongoing for many, many years, especially after a disaster like we had, the magnitude of the disaster from Cameron Peak. So, I mean, that's an example where a lot of, national partners, state partners, local partners, we all had to work together to get the job done.
These are all the organizations across Colorado, and some of them are national and things like that, that we've had involved in our community since the fire happened in August. But I do know that Larimer County is specifically working to make sure that it's not a big step for people to find out, what can I do to help make my house fireproof? Can't be done, but you can do something to mitigate it.
In 2023, we initiated a Wildfire Partners program and hired a full-time person to work in that. With Wildfire Partners program, we still do inspections on all new construction, but we're now also able to offer home safety assessments where we look at the exterior of the house, we look at the fuel surrounding the house, and we offer recommendations and best practices of what the people can do. It's not if a fire is going to happen, it's when it's going to happen.
A property that has been well mitigated to state standards has a very good chance of surviving the fire. Fire crews will come by if there's time and survey. Properties that haven't been mitigated, fire crews they'll come by and take a look, but if the property owner didn't care about their property, why should the fire crew? And there's just too much work to do and not enough time, so they'll leave it and go to one that they have a better chance of saving.
If folks are looking at where to start, a great resource is Colorado State Forest Service's Home Ignition Zone Guide. You don't have to have somebody come out and walk around the property with you. You can download that from the State Forest Service website. Just in the search bar, type the Home Ignition Zone Guide, read through that, start in Zone 1, which is right around 5 feet around the house, and work your way out. The more you do now makes the firefighter's job that much easier. And if you and your neighbor's neighbor all get together and start working and make that link where every property has been mitigated, that strengthens the entire community.
And in 2022, we knew that we needed to invest in more upstream treatments, to invest in mitigation. So we started a mitigation program that's under the Office of Emergency Management, a hazard mitigation grant, and that we started with $50,000. We hope people would apply because it is a special program. It takes neighborhoods working together to do the work themselves, and we found it was widely successful. So successful, we went through it so quickly. So in 2024, despite having budget constraints, we knew this was an important investment into our community, that we doubled it to $100,000. And it, again, widely successful, lots of folks. We had more people applying than we had grant money for. And then this year in 2025, the NOCO Fire Shed received some funding, and they shared that with us, $65,000, so we could award more of these really important wildfire mitigation hazard reduction grants. Our watersheds are the lifeblood of our communities. Water is the lifeblood of our communities, and it is so important to understand that everyone lives downstream, and we all drink that water, and we all need clean air. So investing in this program is a priority for me, and I know our Board of County Commissioners and our county, to make sure that we're protecting those watersheds and our communities and doing what we can to reduce our wildfire hazard and the instance of having another mega fire like we had with Cameron Peak. So we know this money is a great investment into our community. For every dollar that we invest into this program and into mitigation, we can save $13 in suppression and recovery costs.
Each member of our community has a role to play in the prevention and mitigation of the wildfire risk. You not only have a role as a community member when you're out on our public lands, watching for unattended campfires, making sure that you're taking care of those lands, but also as a family and making sure that you're informed, that you're able to get emergency notifications, and that you take action when needed for your own safety and for the safety of the community.